Hello and welcome back to the channel. Held Dominance Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to see more. Now, in this video we're going to have a quick look into what the goings on with the women's game and also the call-ups for the Wales versus England game that is coming up this week as well. So let's begin. And we begin this video with the York versus St Helens game, as York have been awarded a 24-0 win afterward they were unable to fill their Women's Super League encounter. The Challenge Cup winners Saints, whose recent clash with Wigan was also called off due to the COVID-19 cases within their squad, were set to face the Knights for the second time in less than 3 weeks. They were cleared to return to training earlier this week, but a further positive case has left a number of players unable to feature after being deemed close contacts. That, as well as injuries, meant that head coach Derek Hardman had just 14 players available for the upcoming fixture. A statement released by St Helens said that they have taken the difficult decision to cancel the game, with the players' welfare being paramount. However, they failed to meet the threshold of having 7 players ruled out as a direct result of COVID-19, so the game was awarded to the Knights as a 24-0 win. So our second game is the Wigan Warriors women versus Castleford Tigers women. Both teams coming into the game with victories, but one a little bit further back than the other, as Wigan's game against St Helens, as I've already covered, was postponed over last week. So with a little bit more rest, and unfortunately Castleford with only 2 interchanges on the bench, as 2 actually pulled out at last minute, unfortunately. Made the game a bit more one-sided. Well, I wouldn't say that, because Castleford kept the score respectable and scored themselves, as they went over first with Lacey Owen scoring on the 6th minute, and Holly May Dodd even scoring on the 29th minute for Castleford. None of these tries were converted, unfortunately, which led Wigan to go in twice with Wilson, Georgia Wilson. Rachel Thompson grabbed one on the 24th minute, which was followed up just after half time by Karis Marsh. Sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought there. And then Emily Bagley went over in the 57th minute. Georgia Wilson converted 1 from 5 attempts for Wigan to go in as winners at 22-8. So the next game that we're going to look into is Warrington Wolves versus Wakefield Trinity, as it was a back-to-back wins for Warrington Wolves after their resounding success against Huddersfield last weekend. As I mentioned in my previous post in regards to that match, Warrington look like they're adapting a lot better than the Huddersfield side to the rigours and the strengths that's needed in the Women's Super League North. It was a 52-14 scoreline against the Trinity side, with Sammy Simpson scoring 4 tries, as well as tries from Michelle Davis, Abby Johnson and Amy Bennett in the first half, which were followed up by Claire Mullaney, Brogan Evans and Danny Bound in the second half for the emphatic win. Wakefield themselves brought the Warringtons line 3 times, as excuse me, Emma Kershaw went over in the first half, with Liv Whitehead and Brooke Price going over in the second half for the Trinity side. Warrington have been making impressive strides towards that establishment as a rugby league side. It's their first season in the north of the Women's Super League, so it was quite interesting. Just have to say that Taylor was the goal scorer, kicked over a conversion in the first half from Kershaw's try for the Wakefield side. Davis as well scored three. Michelle Davis scored 3 goals, while Mulaney kicked over 2 for herself. Claire Mulaney for that 52 points to 14 victory. Before I go into the last 2 games from the Women's Super League North results and try scorers, we've been told today about the England squad, the Provisional 19 that are going to be playing at the Halliwell Stadium on the 24th of June 2021 the 25th of June 2021 against Wales. There's a big release on Sky Sports, and head coach Craig Richards has named 5 uncapped players in the squad for Friday night's National Lottery Mid-Season Friendly International. Leeds wing and 2019 Women's Super League Grand Final hero Frank Gulthrop is named in the 19-man squad for the first time following an impressive start to 2021 season. Betfred's Challenge Cup winning duo from St Helens, Beth Stott and Travis Page, could also be in line for their international debuts next week. Elsewhere, Wigan's Vicky Molyneux has been selected and could earn the first cap for England since 2007 in a victory over France. But Castleford Tigers pair Emma Lumley and Holly Dodd, who made history during the 2019 Women's Challenge Cup final at just 16 years old, have also been named. Army Sergeant Carrie Roberts could make her first international appearance since 2015 when she crossed up for 3 tries in a 2-game series against France. And St Helens forward Emily Rudge is confirmed as captain. It's been a tough process to pick as the squad, as I have been impressed with several players, both in training and with their performances in the Women's Super League. I'm delighted to be able to select out 4 players who could all make their international debuts against Wales, and I'm excited to see what some of these players can do on the big stage, said head coach Richards about their game against Wales. So, as you've seen on the left on the left hand side of the screen, I have put up the squad throughout this part of the video. So remember, it's live on TV, 6 PM, Halliwell Jones Stadium, England versus Wales. Well, we've covered the England squad. What's going on with the Wales squad? Well, Wales Women's Rugby League have named their squad featuring 10 uncapped players for the Friday night's international game against England. The match will be the first ever official test for the Wales squad, having previously played 2 non-test games in 2019, including a 20 points to 24 win against the England Lions. The England Lions consisted of players that weren't involved in the Women's Super League at that time, but more than likely would have had players that are now in the Women's Super League or even in the England squad involved in the game. So, the squad has been reduced from its initial 36 members, selected after elite athlete ID days were held by the Women's Rugby League in Wales during April. This team is just at the start of our journey, said head coach Thomas Brindle. We've come a long way. We've come along so well in the last 3 months. The effort from all the players has been outstanding, as we're looking forward to being part of a historic test match and see the progress we've made so far. The game is an important milestone for Women's Rugby League in Wales, as it will inspire the next generation. 9 players remain from the first ever squad, which was played against an England select side, as I said, with players outside of the Women's Super League at the time. Wales, Fionn Lewis even could become the dual code international, having played rugby union for the country, while Brindle's squad also includes netball international Ellery Michael. 11 players have been named in... I've done that again. But yeah, Wales' first full recognised international match against England at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium. It's been held at 6 p.m. and it will have definitely got my eyes where it's being shown. For instance, if it's on Sky Sports, I'm going to watch that. If it's on Our League, I'm going to watch it. Twitch, doesn't matter. I'm going to watch that game with interest, as these are two sides that are going into the Rugby League World Cup that is held in November. You can see the Wales squad on my side here. So, yeah, good luck to all involved, and hopefully it's a great spectacle. Hopefully it will inspire the next generation of women's rugby league players in both England and Wales. So we have actually got 2 matches left to go through. One being held on Twitch at 7:30 tonight, but we have just gone through. We're just going to go through Leeds Rhinos game against Bradford Bulls at Bradford's stadium. So we don't have any information on the try or goal scorers for Bradford, unfortunately, but we have all the try scorers for the Leeds Rhino side. A bit of information on why Leeds have been struggling on the social media and also the internet side, because they put out a post on social media this week saying that they're looking for people to matchday coverage people for the Leeds women's side. That will probably be involved in running the social media, so on and so forth. Castleford and York have the best social media presence when it comes to women's rugby, because they follow the game's play by play. The home teams are responsible for that, I think, but it would be good to see both teams using their graphics, which Castleford did this weekend, and York would have done if they have, and also them retweeting sub changes for their opponents, like you see in the men's game on social media, for instance. But I digress. We go back to the try scorers, as Caitlin Beavers and Frank Goldthorpe, 2 for Beavers and 1 for Goldthorpe, went over. Now that they're England squad call-ups. Elena Powell also went over for 2 in the game, as well as Sophie Robinson, Courtney Winfield Hill even, and Zoe Hornby going over 1 each in the game against Bradford, in a 42-10 win for the Leeds side. So the last game of the weekend for the Betfred Women's Super League North was between Featherstone Rovers and Huddersfield Giants, being held at Oddsall and also shown on Twitch on their Rugby League channel, on the RFL's Rugby League channel. It was a tough old game, as we were coming into the first half, and Featherstone's defence was on top. It was shutting out Huddersfield on their own line. It's also big hits in the midfield battle, and one-on-one strips. 2 ball steals in the first 17 minutes, and the first one actually led to the first try of the half, as Brogan Churn went over in the 6th minute to make it 4-0 for Featherstone. Katie Hepworth, as it was relatively infield. It was about 5 metres in from the Huddersfield goal sticks even, and made it 6-0. And then about 10 minutes later, that player again, Brogan Churm, went powered over under the sticks from at least 15 metres out to make it 10-0 to Featherstone. Katie Epworth had the simple task to make it 12-0 to Fev going into half time. It was intense, it's fast, that first half, but players started to tire as there were a few mistakes that crept into both sides. But there was great edge defending, great edge recoveries, but some good hits. Former England internationals in the Featherstone side showed the size difference between the two teams. Featherstone have got the experience, but Huddersfield have got the youth and are building with that youth. Hopefully it'll come a bit quicker. As I keep mentioning, it's not the best at this time out of the two teams that are playing the first year in the Super League, but they're a young side. Hopefully it'll carry on. Now on to the second half. What a second half that game was. As you will know, it was 12-0 to Featherstone going into half time at the half. But straight away from the half, Huddersfield started banging on the door, and the door opened with Bella Sykes scoring and Frankie Townend's converting straight for that one. This was then followed up by 2 tries from Bethan Oates. The second one a stepper through the through the centre of the defence and scoring under the sticks. Both of them were converted by Townend again. A couple of efforts from kickoffs were kicked out on the full, and a couple of injuries that weren't serious but stopped play, stopped the Huddersfield momentum, I'm afraid, as straight away afterwards Chloe Billington went over in the corner. She looked like that she hurt herself with the left arm, and we all thought she was going off. That kick was missed, unfortunately, but Chloe Billington came out from nowhere, still on the pitch, caught a ball out wide to herself, so she stepped inside Brown on the Huddersfield wing, and she ran in with the accelerators all the way through to the got down under the post from the right hand side, and then Chloe Billington scored a hat-trick. This was there was a close effort by the Featherstone side. Chloe Billington playing for Featherstone, I must make clear. Close effort by one of the forward players for Featherstone, which was stopped on the line by exuberant defence from Huddersfield, which was on point all night, must admit. And the ball ended up going out wide to Billington for a hat-trick, which was the last try of the game, and with the kick to come. The kick beforehand for the zoom under the sticks was converted. First try wasn't converted, but was just missed to right of the posts from out wide. And then a hat-trick try was right in the corner again, and Hepworth ended up slotting it, curling it back in to score the last kick on the last kick of the game. That left Hepworth with 4 goals from 5 on the night. Chloe Billington with 3 tries, and Churm with 2. To end the scoring at 28 points to 14 for Featherstone. I must admit, it was a great game, and that's 2 women's games over the weekend that was shown on Twitch, with the Women's Rugby League International between England and Wales next weekend, and hopefully something from Bradford when they play London Broncos on the 26th. We don't know yet, but I'm hopefully social media can bring up that information. But I enjoyed that game thoroughly. What a good game. So that's it for another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys were also on point when you were for Twitch, because every Monday night there is a Women's Rugby League game now. In the northern section. We need to know more about the southern. We know that Army are going to play all their games on Twitch, on their own Twitch channel, and it's great exposure. There was about 1,000 people watching the game on the Monday night for the women's game. That's great viewing figures. There was fans in attendance as well. But hey, we're growing rugby league, and that's what we need to do. We need to get more people involved. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share the video worldwide. It's rugby league, and it's rugby league for you. All the best, and I'll see you in the next video.